Good morning. We have reached week 8. It is the halfway point of the fantasy season, and chances are this is a must-win week for probably more than half of your league. It's time to start thinking fantasy playoffs. And after a crazy week 7, there's actually no teams on bye as we head into week 8, which probably means you have some start-sit questions. Let's get into it.
Hey, what's happening? Sorry. Whoa. I haven't even got into my intro yet, and Caesar's already pissed me off. Excuse you, rude.
I was like, how did he piss you off? I was just going to say, how did he piss you off? And then I saw it. So.
Thank you. Good Saturday morning, everybody. Welcome in to Start Sit, different day. As Ryan said, for week 8, I am Faith. That is Joel. That is Ryan. Welcome.
You got the names down. Nice job.
I got the names and the pointing. Go me.
Oh, see, I am sharing us on Twitter right now. I did not see the pointing at all.
Oh, the pointing
was on point. I love it.
Hey. I don't know. It's a Saturday. We're rolling. It is. You know what? I'm going to put NFL football aside for a second. It's cocktail party day.
What does that mean?
Oh, yeah.
If you are a college football fan, you know what that means. It is the world's largest cocktail party today, which means it is the Florida-Georgia game in Duval, Jacksonville. Wait a second.
Didn't we have Gator J on with us the last time I did this show? We should have had him on again.
We miss Joe. We love Joe. And this is Joe. We have all the Joes. We have Joel. We have a Joe. We got a Ryan, who's like an average Joe.
Nice.
Pretty fair.
Thank you.
Pretty.
Let's not talk about Jaeger bombs, because Jaeger bombs makes me think of Rager bombs, which makes me think of Jalen Rager, which makes me think of my hot mess of a football team. Do you like how that went?
That was a nice segue.
Whole lot going on there. Yeah, absolutely.
Brought it full circle, Joel.
Yeah.
Speaking of full circle, there are no teams on bye. However, there might be some people not playing because they done hurt themselves. Ryan, why don't you share that with the people?
It's actually not as bad as I thought it would be, except at quarterback. So Justin Fields, Deshaun Watson, Ryan Tannehill, Daniel Jones, all out. So it's going to be Tyson Bagent taking over, PJ Walker taking over, Tyrod Taylor. And then you got to pay attention to that Tennessee game. And I guess this really only matters for folks in Superflex leagues. Will Levis is going to start, but they're going to play Malik Willis. So very weird one there. Atlanta should do well. Kyler Murray, though he did practice in full this week, listed as doubtful. He is not going to play. Trevor Lawrence is questionable. Brock Purdy is questionable. And people smarter than me are very worried about Brock Purdy, almost expecting Sam Darnold to play that game. Interestingly enough, at running back, no one of note, nobody who really matters in fantasy football is already listed as out. David Montgomery is questionable. Raheem Mostert, Zach Moss, and Jerome Ford went from doubtful to questionable, something I haven't seen in a very long time. So looking better for Jerome Ford to play in that game. At wide receiver, Deebo Samuel, Robert Woods, Zay Jones out. Tyler Lockett, Josh Palmer, Curtis Samuel questionable. At tight end, only Kylan Granson out. However, Darren Waller, Taysom Hill, Luke Musgrave, Gerald Everett, all listed as questionable. And with kicker, we have a questionable tag, Daniel Carlson for the Raiders. But if you haven't been paying attention, the Rams cut Brett Maher. He is going to be replaced by it's Lucas Haversick. So probably Maher was actually doing well until last week when he missed 3 kicks. So he was on a lot of fantasy rosters. If you haven't been paying attention, make sure you go and check that your kicker actually has a job right now.
Sorry, you were talking about injuries, and I was like, crap. Well, you mentioned tight ends, and I was like, there is a very important injury that I need to update myself on before today, and that is the ankle status of one Brock Bowers. And I didn't have time to look that up.
I didn't think there were any tight ends that mattered, but that makes sense. So.
Joel, I will kick you off this stream. Don't you do that.
Well, didn't he have surgery? I thought he was done for the
year.
Brock
Bowers? No.
Yeah.
The tight end for Georgia?
I thought he was out I thought he had surgery, and they were saying he was probably out for at least the rest of the regular season.
Now we're all going to research. Well,
No,
while
we're
Faith
not.
is researching, I just dropped it in the comments. Please get any singular question you have in. The show is very boring if you guys don't ask us.
Just us talking.
Yeah.
I did not see that. And
Faith, not here.
That's fine.
Joel, I hate you right now.
Just the bearer of bad news.
I was doing good. And I was like, oh yeah, I need to look that up. And then you're like, oh yeah, didn't he have surgery and is out for the rest of the season?
Well, Faith's morning is ruined.
I get the eye of death from Faith.
We're just gonna this might just become the Faith and Ryan show here in a second.
Well, I say if you're going to shut down, it's just going to be me answering the 3 questions in the stats.
All right. Just to take my mind off things. Joe wants to know Stroud or T-Law with 0 other determining factors and helpful information. So, Joel.
Yeah, I mean, at quarterback, it's usually not that hard.
It's like kind of a coin flip. I'm kind of on the side of getting back to T-Law. I mean, ETN's been kind of killing it, but it's basically all on touchdowns. So I think T-Law is kind of bound to bounce back and start doing T-Law things. So I'll kind of side on what we know. Plus those Pittsburgh-Jacksonville games tend to get kind of wonky. So there may be some throwing in that game. So I'll go with T-Law.
Yeah, I'm at the weird point where I don't know if I want to trust Trevor Lawrence. He's QB 13 on the season. He is ahead of Stroud, but Stroud has had his bye week already. I have created this narrative in my head that Houston is going to come out of this bye week super prepared for a game against Carolina, where Carolina, other than a decent pass rush, not a very good defense, banged up all over the field. I think I would go CJ Stroud in this match.
Dang it.
I do have them right next to each other in my ranking.
Yeah, I think it's real close. It's probably a coin flip.
But yeah, Trevor Lawrence.
Tightrope surgery.
Tightrope surgery?
That's how ESPN listed it. He had underwent tightrope surgery on October 16th to repair a high left ankle sprain. He's expected to miss at least 4 to 6 weeks.
We're just out here making up injuries at this point. So
I'm like, what is a tightrope surgery? Weird. All right. Chris wants to know, should he go Geno Smith versus the Browns or Sam Howell versus Philly? His other option is to drop Howell and head to the waiver wire to grab Pickett, Ritter, Bagent, Minshew, or Mac Jones. Well, we'll just ignore Mac Jones. Like, come on now. I don't even do analysis, and I'm just ignore that one. Joel.
I think Howell's the pretty easy option here. They're going to have to throw a lot in that game. He had a not a great real life game, but a good fantasy game against Philly when they played earlier. So yeah, I think Howell's a pretty easy choice there.
Yeah, seeing Philadelphia shut down Tua Tagovailoa to a degree worries me about Sam Howell a little bit, but you definitely need to go with the team. Philadelphia has trouble against wide receivers. I think you're going to see Terry McLaurin, maybe Jahan Dotson, certainly Curtis Samuel get more involved in this game. Philly's going to score points, so you assume Washington's going to need to score. That Cleveland defense is no joke. I understand Gardner Minshew just beat them up last week. I'm going to take that as the exception, not the rule. I think it's going to be a very mediocre day from Geno Smith. I would go Sam Howell.
Yep.
I would certainly go him over any of your waiver options, except, Joel, I want to ask you about this one. Any buy-in to teabag Tyson Bagent going against the worst?
Okay, hold on. Time out. Let's not make that nickname a thing.
I'm all the way bought in.
All
the way bought in. Shout out Ian Hart. I am all the way bought in. But the Chargers give up the most points to fantasy quarterbacks. I guess my issue is I wouldn't want to cut Sam Howell for him. But, man, there's a part of me that would not mind starting him this week.
Who are they playing and where?
Chargers in Los Angeles, which means it's a home game for them.
Sunday night game.
Yeah.
It also means you don't have to deal with wind.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of brought this up in the chat on your Monday show. I mean, he beat the Raiders, dude.
Exactly. But the Chargers is like beating the Raiders. I'm looking specifically.
That's true. I mean, I know it's a road game in name only because the Chargers have no fans. So, but he's still got to travel. Yeah, I'm not trusting that over someone like Sam Howell, who I've seen have a good fantasy day against the Eagles.
No, I think
like 3 weeks ago. So,
yeah, I like it.
Our good buddy Elixirs says his team is 2-5. It's his STD league. We've talked about this, Elixirs.
Oh yeah, he spelled it out phonetically on Wednesday and threw Joe Zolo all the way off. He was not ready for that.
Oh, Joe. So he wants to know if there's any potential trades he could make with his roster. At quarterback, he's got Jordan Love, Justin Fields. At wide receiver, he has Olave Nakua, DJ Moore, Watson, and JSN. At running back, he has both B. Robinsons and Jakobi Jacobs, and his tight ends are Kincaid and Engram. Is there anybody on that team, Joel, other than potentially in today's market, Puka, that you would want any part of?
I would say the one answer that would jump off, but it's tough to do this week since he already played, is Dalton Kincaid. Since I think people are going to want to jump on that train, but like I said, he's already played, so you probably can't trade him this week. I think DJ Moore is always a candidate to be traded because I think there may be people who are higher on him than they should be, but you do have the stack with Fields, and I don't think he's going to have a great game this week, so I don't know how much market there is for him. So I don't want to trade Nakua. I think he's the guy that's kind of probably single-handedly keeping you from 0-7, to be honest.
Yeah, looking at this roster, that's very well. Fields maybe for 3 games in there. I guarantee those 2 wins were active Justin Fields.
He also
exactly.
He also just says, or do I sit and wait?
Yeah, I don't know how much you can do with this. There's just not a lot of market for like the guys that you have. Like Jacobs is down, Brian Robinson is like disappearing, Chris Rodriguez is getting snaps there. Bijan, I mean, you could move him if people aren't afraid of the headache nonsense. But maybe Olave but Olave is probably a prime candidate because Derek Carr is god awful and he may struggle the rest of the way. So, if somebody wants to go on the name, he may be someone you could trade.
Almost word for word, as I was going to say, is it depends on what your belief in Chris Olave bouncing back is. The target volume's there, 15 targets last week, but did next to nothing with them. 1 touchdown this entire season because it's a Derek Carr problem. So you're going to look to package Chris Olave with somebody, but then the question is, who are people going to be willing to move off of? Do you believe Justin Jefferson's going to come back? You might find somebody. I've seen Justin Jefferson go for pennies in redraft leagues, so it may be worth.
At 2 and 5, that's too late, right?
Exactly. So good
you need
point.
Someone who's going to help you right now.
Let me be clear. I shouldn't even have brought his name up. I'm the one on the normal shows who does not believe he's going to play this season. I honestly don't think he's going to come back. So I don't think it matters. So I wouldn't go get him. And then when you look at the names that are available, I don't know that I love Devonta Adams more than Chris Olave. I don't think one bad week for Cooper Kupp is going to make him available. The Tyreek Hill injury scare didn't last long enough for there to be a buy window. Jordan Addison is interesting if you believe he's going to take over there. And what's funny is you could take Olave in one of your pieces and get Addison in another piece. So there's more like of an even trade there just to churn your roster a little bit. At this point, you sit and wait. I think Joel hit it on the head. Move Dalton Kincaid after this week. Hopefully your trade deadline's not looming or anything. Move Dalton Kincaid after this week. I'm not saying he's not going to be good. He's not going to be this good every single week.
Can you package Bijan and Olave and get Ja'Marr Chase?
There you go.
Just get someone who's like super high upside, who has had their bye. Because you can't afford to take on someone who hasn't had their bye at 2 and 5.
Mm-hmm. You need to win 3 of your next 4 games. So.
Yeah. So can you package those guys? You've got enough running back that can you get Chase and a fill-in running back. a Zach Moss.
Because with Brian Robinson, Josh Jacobs, you're not in bad shape whatsoever. So.
Yeah.
And running backs are so bad this year. Like, just find one who's going to get 10 touches that week.
All right. Before I go to the next question, I have an answer. So the tightrope is a device made by Arthrex that is used to stabilize the syndesmosis after an injury. It's a big word. The device allows flexible fixation and improvement over the previously rigid forms of fixation.
I did not have syndesmosis on my starts at different day bingo card.
This is not what I thought I was walking into this morning.
Well, Ryan didn't put it on his injury report.
No, I didn't dig that deep into college football injuries. Mainly because I didn't know there was
the first game since 2021 that they're playing without Brock Bowers.
Oh, no.
It's a good thing Florida sucks.
Exactly.
All right, Caesar wants to know. Bench 1. Ekeler, Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Hall, or a one Mr. Jonathan Taylor. Joel.
Holy crap. How do you have this level of... This is like the definition of first world champagne problems. That's a crazy list of running backs. There's no one on this list that I don't like. Probably maybe Bijan, just because Tennessee's running defense can be really good. I mean, everyone else I really like this week. So that's the only way that I can see going.
Yeah, if I'm of the firm belief that if David Montgomery plays, I'm fine with benching Jahmyr Gibbs because I think there's
I don't think he's playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but he didn't practice on Thursday. That's the last update we have on David Montgomery right now. So for me, it's hard to bench Ekeler, even though he's done nothing against that Bears defense. So yeah, it almost has to be Bijan because that game could get real interesting. And they were, as we all saw, as we all witnessed, as we all suffered through, they were very willing just to feed that ball to Tyler Algier and Cordero Patterson last week. And Jonathan Taylor looked good. The matchup against New Orleans isn't easy, but if you watch that game, first and foremost, they were lining him up at wide receiver a lot to keep he and Zach Moss on the field together, and he looked like a wide receiver. It was fun to watch. It was good to see from him.
All right.
I don't know where... Hold on a second. I missed Breece Hall in all of this question, but you can't bench him this week either.
No.
My goodness. I'm typing the question up for the timestamps at the end of the video, and I'm like, wait, did I conflate two players here? But no, there was just another great running back in there.
All right. So, Killiquicks over on Twitch, shout out Twitch, wants to know, is Purdy going to play? And if not, do you trust Sam Darnold over Jimmy G? Or he adds later that Bagent is out on waivers. So would you go Brock Purdy if he's playing, or Sam Darnold over Jimmy G? Or are you hitting the waiver wire to pick up Bagent? I can't do it. I can't.
Fine.
Joel.
This is the exact opposite of the question before, where it's just absolutely loaded, and now you're just absolutely scraping the bottom of the barrel. I do not trust Darnold. I don't think Purdy's going to play. There's no way he got concussed on Monday and is playing on Sunday. This is way too close to a Tua situation. I don't think it's even reasonable to expect him to play whether he's practicing or not. Jimmy G's got a terrible matchup in Detroit. That's a team that's going to be really pissed off after just laying an egg last week. And like I said, I don't trust Bagent at all on the road. I think you probably have to just try and go with the 49ers quarterback, just expecting that they're not going to be able to take it easy with playing against Cincinnati. They're going to have to score. They're going to have to throw. So whoever plays for the 49ers is the one I would go to on this list.
I would go get Bagent. That Chargers defense, if you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, give me the guy who has the easiest matchup. Cincinnati coming off of their bye, getting San Francisco on a short week with quarterback issues. Sam Darnold is still Sam Darnold. So I'll gamble on Tyson Bagent in this situation because I don't think Jimmy G plays either. So.
All right. Caesar, I guess it's an addendum from his previous question. Are you going Addison or D. Smith and the Eagles at Washington or the 49ers against Cincinnati? Joel.
Devonta Smith has got to be the most frustrating player in the league in fantasy this year, just because like he's killing it in the analytics, but just getting no production because AJ Brown's vulturing it all. I think I probably still have to go with him because I don't like the Vikings tomorrow on grass on a short week in kind of lousy weather against a kind of desperate Green Bay team.
You don't like the Vikings at all. Let's be real.
Well, that's true. But yeah, I still think it's a bad situation for them. The defense question, I mean, if your league counts sacks at all, you have to take the Eagles because you're guaranteed like 7 or 8 against Sam Howell. So I think that's a pretty easy one.
Those Georgia Bulldogs, baby.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not the defense one, you can't really make a wrong decision. Philadelphia is my defense 1 this week. San Francisco is my defense 3. Like, I would also go Philadelphia, but I think both the Bengals are not protecting Joe Burrow whatsoever, but you do have to deal with the Jahmyr Chase ability to score that you don't.
They do get Orlando Brown back.
You are talk, Ryan?
Okay, is something wrong?
Am
I too far away from my mic?
There you go.
Okay.
Say, you're going in and out.
I was leaning away from my mic, so that's probably my fault there. So I'll turn my mic and sit closer to it. Sorry about that. But anyway, definitely agree with Joel. The Eagles defense is the pretty easy pick there just because you expect them to do well against Washington. Again, at wide receiver, I'm not worried about either one of these guys. I'm a big Jordan Addison guy. I think the role is there. Joel knows more about the Packers-Vikings matchup than I do, but I'm far too worried that A.J. Brown is going to go nuclear against Washington, so I would go Jordan Addison in that specific situation.
All right. Joe wants to know Drake London, Amari Cooper, Brandon Aiyuk, and a Wilson whose first name is escaping me right now.
Right,
Garrett. I don't know if I would have known that name if you'd have put a gun to my head. Start 2, Joel.
As much as I like Drake London, I just don't think you can trust the Atlanta passing offense at all or anything about Atlanta. So I think he's the one you have to. He's the easy first cut. You can't not start Aiyuk. You can't not start Garrett Wilson. So I think Cooper you have just because it's PJ Walker. So I'll go Wilson and Aiyuk.
Yeah, PJ Walker, they're playing in Seattle. Cooper, I don't think caught a ball until mid-4th quarter last week. And what's the kid's name? Devin Witherspoon. He's actually been playing quite well for Seattle. So I think Amari Cooper could have another tough game here. I like what we've seen from Garrett Wilson and Zach Wilson in that connection. And again, I tend to have this thing for teams coming off of bye. So you hope that they're going to come out, better game plan, more comfortable. I made this comment previously. Zach Wilson, this is his first time to take a breath this season because this guy was not at no point during the preseason was he receiving first team reps. Did he think he was going to be the starter? All of a sudden, 4 plays into the season, he's the starter and now he's practicing and doing everything else. So this week was his time to maybe get his legs under him. We'll see if that's a good thing or a bad thing because he's still Zach Wilson, but I definitely would go Aiyuk against Cincinnati, Garrett Wilson against the Giants in this one.
Zach Wilson is playing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, but Zach Wilson took his girlfriend on vacation to Utah, okay? He got a good mental break.
That's right.
He should be fine.
That was a really tough stretch for him to start the season, right? It's Buffalo, New England, Dallas, and those are 3 of the best defenses in the league. So he's been playing acceptably well since he didn't have to go through that gauntlet. So he's been okay, yeah.
I agree.
All right. Search and Kill, also on Twitch, wants flex one. Gibbs, Addison, Harris, or Smith-Njigba. Joel.
I'm not touching Najee Harris. I don't trust JSN's target share. Especially if Lockett's supposed to play, DK Metcalf is practicing, so he should be back. So this is between Gibbs and Addison, like Ryan said before, I don't think Montgomery's playing. I don't think there's any chance Montgomery's playing. So I will take the running back that I think has a very high touch floor.
Yeah, the exact same situation. Big Jordan Addison guy, but if David Montgomery's not playing and Jahmyr Gibbs has that backfield to his own, you cannot bench him this week. And it's never Najee. You can just leave him out of your questions moving forward. It's never Najee.
Okay, so even though you're not leaning away from your mic, you were still going in and out for a second.
Gotcha. My internet says it's fine. I don't know what's going on. So.
Well, we could see you talking and I could hear you. It's just the volume.
Interesting. My
was
mic
fluctuating.
I'll turn my mic volume up and see what happens. So.
Okay. All right. Chris needs defensive help. Well, Chris, you came to the right place. Are you taking the Browns versus Seattle? Seattle versus the Browns? Or Lions versus the Raiders?
I think this is pretty easily the Lions. Like they get a Monday night game. Like I said, they're going to be kind of ferociously pissed after just being playing atrociously last week against Baltimore. So, and there's nothing in that Raiders offense that scares me right now. Devonta's okay, but their quarterback situation's a mess. Jimmy G's not entirely healthy, so I think this is pretty easily Detroit.
But he looks good.
Yeah, you got to be super worried about what we saw from. There you go. You got to be super worried about what we saw from Detroit last week, but I rode with them last week. I'm riding with them again on Monday night this week. Browns are interesting just because they've played well, but it hasn't always translated into fantasy success. And PJ Walker's going to protect the football. I wouldn't be able to ride that Seattle defense comfortably, whereas I think the Raiders are going to collapse, and Detroit has something to prove. Like, Detroit borderline got exposed last week. They need to now be back at home, very comfortable against a bad team, and beat the shit out of them.
Okay, so Mike has several comments. I don't know if they're all the same league, but they are all PPR. So his first is Higgins or Watson for a flex spot in a PPR. But then a minute later, he also throws in Cooper Boyd, flex in a PPR. And then he also throws in Jacobs, Doubs, McLaurin, or Meyers in a flex.
Well, let's do these one at a time for sake of the timestamps. So go ahead and put the one you want me to answer up, and we'll go from there.
So is it Higgins, Watson, or Boyd? Because
let's just treat it how he wrote it.
All right, so Higgins or Watson's in a PPR. Joel.
I am the biggest Christian Watson fan in the world outside of his mom, who's very active on Twitter.
You are.
I still can't trust him against someone like T. Higgins.
I was wondering if we were going to get a bunch of Green Bay questions because Joel bought me all the way into Green Bay, and I am super jaded, though I still love Romeo Doubs. Doubs, I still don't know how to pronounce his name, but there you go. Big Romeo Doubs guy. However, no way is it Christian Watson right now. I benched him in all the leagues I have him, which are plenty because of Joel. It's T. Higgins, good friend of mine, big Bengals fan, follows them closely, says Higgins should be fully healthy. And again, as the theme of the show, they're coming off a bye week. So.
All right, Mike, since I know that you were in here, is Cooper Boyd part of the first league or the second league? Just so we know how to best help you. While I wait on that answer, we'll go to this one. Jacobs, Doubs, McLaurin, or Meyers, Joel, in a flex position, PPR.
I'm going to go with McLaurin, who kind of lit up the Eagles the last time they played. Was it 8 for 86? He is the favored target of Sam Howell when he's not being sacked. So, and they're going to have to throw the ball. They're going to have to throw to keep up with the Eagles. I'm going to go with McLaurin in that one.
Yeah, Sam Howell's favorite target is definitely the ground. I agree with every word. Every word Joel just said. I can't bench Jakobi Meyers right now. Even though I like the Detroit defense, I can't bench Jakobi Meyers right now. He is playing out of his mind. He's a top 20 wide receiver most weeks. He is out targeting Devonta Adams in like half the games they played together. There is every reason to start Terry McLaurin. I'm still going to run Jakobi Meyers.
It's another champagne problem, right? That's your flex.
Exactly.
Those four guys for your flex. That's a pretty good situation.
Oh, okay. So
The other question is if it's Cooper or Boyd, it's Cooper. You're never trusting Tyler Boyd.
Exactly. That one's not even a hard one. I'm not even going to put that one on the show sheet. We're just roping that into the last question. It's Amari Cooper. Even if he does nothing till the fourth quarter, he'll probably outperform Tyler Boyd.
All right. Killiquicks wants to know start 2, Ridley, Lamb, Rice, Watson, KJ, or Jamo. Joel.
Lamb's the easy one. Which KJ? Why am I blanking on that one?
KJ Osborne.
KJ Osborne. No, you're not starting him. You're not starting Jamo. You're not starting KJ Osborne. Watson, Rice, or Ridley. I don't trust Ridley at all. I think it's a good matchup for Kirk again. So, yeah, that's between Rice and Watson. Who's KC play this week? Denver. Yeah, I'll say Rice. Lamb and Rice. That sounds like a dinner.
I was going to say.
Holy shit.
Lamb and rice or dog
Lamb
food.
and rice.
That better be a part.
There you go.
Or dog food. Yeah, that better be a part of your team name. I feel like I was typing names forever. I feel like at this point I'm just adding players to his team that aren't even there. But no, what are we choosing? Maybe 6 names here. Yeah, it's lamb and rice. It's a Purina kind of day. Go out there.
Yeah. Which leads into go dogs.
There you go. No, just to lean on what Joel said, Christian Kirk, after week 1, has kind of taken control of that Jacksonville target share. You can always gamble on a big day for Ridley, and it may come. That's not the gamble I'm making. Denver is not playing good defense. They're not playing good offense. They're not playing good anything. Rashee Rice has established himself as that number 1 wide receiver. It hasn't paid boom dividends yet, which means he's due. The other guys are just not startable. 6 targets for Jameson Williams last week, did not catch a single ball. So even against a Raiders defense that can be beaten, you can't play him, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. All right, Elixirs is here asking advice for his dad's team. It's the same STD league. So he wants to know, are there any trades that you would make, or who are you sitting, I suppose? So his quarterbacks are Kirk Cousins and Sam Howell. His wide receivers are ASB, Hollywood, London, or Debo. His running backs are Gibbs, Pollard, White, Dillon, and Johnson. And his tight end is the one Mr. Kyle Pitts. Joel.
I would cut AJ Dillon because he's just straight terrible. So go find someone on your waivers who's better than that. Your receivers are good, assuming Debo gets healthy and can come back. So you're fine there. In a standard league, Cousins he's got to be killing it, right? He's throwing a lot of touchdown passes.
I have him as my standard league quarterback. He's been great. So
yeah, he's had a few dud games, but otherwise he's been really good. Your running backs, that's where I would want to do better. Like Pollard, outside of that first game against the Giants, really hasn't scored any touchdowns at all. So in a standard league, he's been kind of an issue. Gibbs, this week should be good, but once Montgomery comes back, he's probably not playable in a standard league just because Montgomery's going to vulture all those touchdowns. And Pitts is just, like you said, like having London and Pitts on the same team is kind of a death sentence right now, just because they just don't throw the ball and they just can't do anything offensively, especially on the run. Like I don't trust that team this week at all. So yeah, you need to upgrade that running back core in a standard league. And if you can do something about tight end, you probably want to address that too.
Yeah, the problem is it's not even like you can include Pitts in the trade unless there's another Falcons fan. So, I mean, I guess he could try to fleece you, Elixirs, see what he could pull off there. But no, I just don't see it happening. But yeah, upgrade at running back would make the most sense. And I'm even fine with if you have somebody who believes Debo is going to bounce back, you could use Debo in one of those running backs to upgrade your running back situation. Drake London, far more viable in a standard league than he is in a redraft league. And Hollywood Brown's about to get Kyler Murray back. We could see a completely different Hollywood Brown in the second half of the season.
Yeah, I would try to move like Debo and see if you can capitalize on Gibbs' name value and get an upgrade at running back. Because your receivers are good. They're really good.
Elixir says that he was probably going to get his data drop Dylan for Spears.
Oh, immediately.
Yeah.
Waiver.
You have to do that right now because of that trade. So yeah,
a potential King Henry trade.
Yeah, Tajay Spears should not be on a single waiver. Everybody who is watching this show right now, go check your waivers for Tajay Spears. And if you want another one, if you mildly believe Dalvin Cook is likely to get traded or released before the deadline as well. If you are thin at running back, if he ends up on the right team, it could play out really well for him. So Dalvin Cook is the lesser of the two. You want Tajay Spears on your roster right now.
All right. T-Money Reacts says 8-man PPR. Pick 2 to flex. Burrow, Ekeler, Pollard, Chase, Waddle, Hawk, Flowers, Olave. His bench is Fields, Kirk, Gus, Rice, Johnson, Gabe, or Kincaid.
Yeah, I gave up. I'm not writing any of that
down. Yeah, I can't even copy it. We'll copy it from Twitter later.
Yeah, I could probably make a copy and paste, but then I usually try to keep their first names in there so people can find the questions easier. I just put big flex question.
We'll get to the second half, the history question, after the first half.
Okay.
Joel.
So 8-man PPR is 2 flexes. Is that 2 flexes or is that super flex? I guess I'm kind of confused.
I'm going to guess it's 2 flex. I'm guessing he's probably starting 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers.
Okay, so that's his starters.
Mm-hmm. And then his bench.
Oh, wait. I think this whole thing is just a trade question. I don't think he wants us to give him starter advice.
I
think he just wants to know if he should do these trades at the end here.
Should I trade Hawk and Flowers for Puka and Laporta? God, yes.
Yes, immediately, as quick as possible.
Immediately, yeah. If you can do that, yes, 100%.
I'm going to go in and actually update the sheet now because this makes a lot more sense now.
Like Puka is legitimately a league winner, so if you can make that deal, absolutely make that deal. And there's not much difference between Hawkinson and Laporta.
All right. Search and Kill needs a tight end. Are you going Waller or Ferguson, Joel?
I love Waller this week. He's going to be in all my DFS lineups because the Jets are bad against the tight end, and Tyrod Taylor has been looking at him like regularly. He's Tyrod Taylor's safety blanket, or security blanket, I guess. Yeah, I like Waller a lot this week.
Yeah, it's hard not to. Like you said, the target share that we hoped was going to happen earlier in the season is finally happening now. Yep. Jake Ferguson's my stream of the week. The Rams are a good matchup as well. They're this weird level of funnel defense where they are very good against fantasy wide receivers, but not that good against tight ends. So it's a situation where we could see, we like CeeDee Lamb a lot, but we could see him slow down a little bit and it could lead to Jake Ferguson scoring a touchdown. I'm still going Waller in this situation on the sheer target volume play. The Jets do not stop tight ends. So.
All right. Does Rice get Patrick Surtain this week?
So no. I wanted to go look this up real quick. Even if he does, I'm not worried. When you look at number 1 wide receivers against them, first of all, Rashee Rice had 4 catches for 72 yards. Garrett Wilson, 3 for 54. DJ Moore, 8 for a Bill 31 and a touchdown. Tyreek Hill is obviously Tyreek Hill. But 9 for a $157 and a touchdown. Terry McLaurin, 5 for 54 and a touchdown. Jakobi Meyers, maybe the 2. So Devonta Adams, 6 for 66, no touchdowns. So that means Rice has a 10 to 11 point floor and a 20-point ceiling. Even if he gets Surtain, the rest of that defense, specifically the pass rush, because they keep cutting every damn player in their pass rush. If you can't get after Mahomes and force the pass out quickly, he's going to kill you, and that's going to be with Rashee Rice to the chagrin of Patrick Surtain.
Rice runs over half of his snaps in the slot. Surtain doesn't go in the slot. So, yeah.
So let's look at that Jakobi Meyers.
If they want to keep him away from Surtain, they can.
Well, let's say, and if we look at the Jakobi Meyers game, that's 9 for 81 and 2 touchdowns. Their only multi-touchdown game of the season against the slot wide receiver.
Also, there's no Kareem Jackson because he finally got suspended for being a freaking headhunter. So
yeah, that was rough. After the first 2 weeks, I was dragging his name through the mud, and it still took another 5 weeks to get suspended. So.
It's almost like they don't listen to you, Ryan. The nerve of these people.
What's wrong
with you doing, NFL? Come on.
The nerve.
The nerve.
Quincy Davis. says start 2 wide receivers and 2 flex. He has Jalen Waddle, Zay Flowers, Jakobi Meyers, Josh Palmer, Tank Dell. All right, we'll start with the wide receivers first. So Waddle, Flowers, Meyers, Palmer, or Dell. Start 2. Start Meyers and somebody else. Joel.
I'm not starting Palmer just because he's questionable and that game's on Sunday night. So you need like a pivot if you're going to start him, and I don't see a pivot here. And there's better receivers to go. Like I would start Waddle. I'm going to start Flowers just because I think that game could shoot out. I think that's kind of a letdown game for Baltimore. Coming off that big win against Detroit, they got to fly all the way across the country. Then they fly back. So I think this could be a trap game for them. I think that game might shoot out as much as a Josh Dobbs quarterback game can shoot out. But I like Flowers a lot this week. And I Waddle had a good game against the Patriots in week 1. So I'm going to go with him, especially with, Tyreek Hill being a little bit nicked up.
So I was going to throw this out at you though, Joel. Is Waddle a better play if Tyreek plays? Because then they have to worry about Tyreek. I'm more concerned about Waddle if Tyreek doesn't play because Waddle went for 4 for 86 against them last time when they had to focus on slowing Tyreek down. If they only have to focus slowing Waddle down, I don't know if it changes my answer because I agree with you. I can't bench Jakobi Meyers. So right away, your first 3 wide receivers, I'll answer part of the flex question. Waddle, Zay Flowers, Jakobi Meyers are in my lineup. And then we have to pick one more flex.
The flex. Zach Moss, Kareem Hunt, or Tajay Spears, as the boys yelled earlier about that.
Yeah, I'm not diving into starting him this week, especially with subpar QB play, though it could lead to a bunch of targets for him. I like Kareem Hunt a lot better when I was relatively certain that Jerome Ford wasn't going to play. I think I would. Joel brings up a really good point about the Josh Palmer injury and your inability to pivot. So I think I'd probably go Tank Dell. Again, Robert Woods is out this week, so it should be a decent Tank Dell week coming off of their bye, which is my new motto.
Coming off of their bye. Who are you flexing, Joel?
I don't like any of those guys better than the receivers who you wouldn't be starting, right? Kareem Hunt probably should get most of the snap, but Seattle's been like crazily really good against the run. Like they were terrible last year, but now they're really good. Doesn't make any sense. Zach Moss is hurt. If I'm starting Waddle and Flowers, I'll take Meyers and Dell as my flexes. Yeah.
Did you say
I think your 4 best wide receivers are who you're starting? Yes.
Well, in fantasy this year, you almost have to be starting your best wide receivers. There is a point gap between wide receivers and running backs that as you get further down, it becomes pretty wide, and you want the wide receivers in your lineup.
It becomes pretty wide, and you want the wide receivers in your lineup. I see
there
what
you go.
Ryan.
When I was ranking wide receivers this week, it's tough. Like you scroll down and you have good players as your wide receiver 40 because everybody has decent matchups. All the wide receivers are playing very well. Like Rashee Rice. I love Rashee Rice this week. He is my wide receiver 39 because I can't find a reason to get him up. I would play him. I will happily play him, but there's so many good wide receivers in fantasy right now.
All right. Killiquick says he's changing his name to Layman Rice. Well done, nice. As you should. But he also has a defense question. Are you taking Miami, Seattle, Dallas, or Kansas City, Joel?
Ooh, man, Miami against Mac Jones is tempting just because New England can never win in Miami or do anything well in Miami. But I think you probably need to go allegedly. I think you probably need to go KC against Denver. KC's killing it on defense. They're really good, and Denver's offense is atrocious. Are they in Denver or are they in KC?
In Denver.
In Denver. I'm still going to go KC. Their defense is playing really well.
I can't bench Dallas. I like the Rams a lot this week, but Dallas forces turnovers. They force sacks. That's what you're looking for. Of these teams, Kansas City and Dallas are certainly the most likely to score a touchdown, but I'm not going to bench the defense one if I have them. So I would go Dallas, but there's nothing wrong with Kansas City.
All right. Lee says to start 3, Waddle, Olave, Meyers, Adams, Flowers, or Devonta Smith, Joel.
Man, that's another list of champagne problems.
Yeah.
I like all these guys this week. I'm going to start Waddle. I think he has a big game this week. I do think Tyreek Hill is going to play, and I think that's going to open him up. So he would be the easy one here. Man, you got to pick between Meyers and Adams in a bad spot.
I feel like I've noticed a lot of teams have both of them. Like, I feel like nobody trusted Meyers, and so they kind of got him in this late round situation. Like, I guess I'll take him. And now all of a sudden it's a lineup question.
Yeah, I said Flowers earlier. I'll say the ones I've talked about already. I'll say Waddle, Flowers, and Devonta Smith, but I don't dislike any of these guys.
And I am on the exact same page as Joel, except I will flip back to Jakobi Meyers, who I've been talking up. I would go, God, am I really about to say to bench Devontae Adams against Chicago?
Against Detroit.
Or Detroit, rather, yeah. Okay, I feel better about it. Chicago was last week. Let's go Waddle and Smith for sure. And then I'll stay on brand and say Jakobi Meyers. So.
On brand. All right, Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. In a full PPR, flex 1. Foreman, Johnson, Chuba, Shaheed Rashid, or Moss. Joel.
Chuba Hubbard doesn't exist in my world. Rashid Shaheed's just, I like Rashid Shaheed, but there's just too much target competition and too much Derek Carr for me to trust him ever. Moss is hurt. So process of elimination is between Foreman and Roschon Johnson. I think they're going to have to throw the ball quite a bit this week, more than they did last week, to keep up with the Chargers. So and Roschon is their clear passing down, hurry up offense back. So I'll go with Roschon.
Is he officially out of concussion protocol? I haven't dug deep enough in there. Okay, perfect.
He is playing.
That worried me where he was still on as of Wednesday. And I'm like, my goodness, how long are you going to be in concussion protocol? Yeah, I think that is the correct answer. Is I think he's going to be the PPR back. I don't think we can expect Deontay Foreman to go into this game and do the exact same thing he did last week, though it is still a winnable matchup for them. But I would go Roschon Johnson with this backup quarterback who's going to be looking for short dump-off routes every opportunity he gets.
His ADOT was like 4 yards against the Raiders. I mean, as well as they did, he did not throw the ball downfield. And
that goes with their offense in general. Like, we were making fun of Justin Fields' ADOT in the preseason and things like that, where it was negative yards for certain games. So you just don't think they're not going to force the ball, which is going to be detrimental to DJ Moore's ceiling for the next few weeks. I think his floor is probably all right, but I just don't think we're going to see another, 251 and 3 for a little while.
So, you know how Sleeper liked to have some fun, and Travis Kelce's picture was Taylor Swift for a hot minute? They've done it again, ladies and gentlemen, except it's Puka Nacua this time. Also known, because it's stupid blurred background. Please hold.
I was like, what is happening? Faith out here just dropping porn on Start Sit Different Day.
Lord have mercy.
Sorry, Josh.
Mercy.
Sorry, we've been canceled.
Pikachu.
Nice.
What the hell? This is straight up stolen from me. I mentioned this on, I think it was this show, but on a show, Donovan literally refers to him as Pikachu because of that. So,
well,
I'll have to show Donovan, except it'll probably be an iPhone thing only. Again, I'll have to go bust out the iPad to show it.
I was gonna say, or screenshot it, and I can just text it.
Yeah, do that. Make my life easier.
All right, Anthony has a question. Cincinnati at San Francisco. He wants to know, what do we expect from the Cincinnati offense? Can T. Higgins get it going again? Joel.
I do like Cincinnati this week. Like Ryan said, they're coming off the bye. San Fran is on a short week. They had to play Monday, fly back to San Fran. They got, their secondary got exposed on Monday night. That, it's a great defense. It's not a great secondary. They do get Orlando Brown back, so I think they should be able to protect Burrow a little bit better. So I do like T. Higgins to get. I like the offense in general, and I do think T. Higgins is going to get back into the groove of things.
Yeah, their secondaries. Joel said they got exposed. They've been bad. It's just Jordan Addison ate them up. Brandon Powell still had a good game. KJ Osborne had a decent game. That was all on Monday night. Amari Cooper went for 4 for 108 against them. And that was the first PJ Walker game that we're talking about. Amari Cooper having a good game. They did slow down CeeDee Lamb 4 for 49, but Michael Wilson torched them. Hollywood Brown torched them. They shut down the Giants, but that's no accomplishment for anyone. Puka Nacua torched them. Allen Robinson had 5 catches for 64 yards against them. Like, this is a very beatable secondary. So you do need to expect, coming off the bye, Joe Burrow, if they can keep him upright, and getting out Orlando Brown is going to help there. If they can keep him upright, you have to expect they're going to get T. Higgins heavily involved. Jamar Chase is going to have another big week. They're not getting the production out of Irv Smith that I thought they were going to. I guess that's just my folly, thinking that he was going to step up and actually do something. T. Higgins is that bigger wide receiver for them. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they use him as they get down to the red zone, because Joe Mixon's been inefficient as hell this season. So their best bet is to keep passing the ball. I think they should be a much better offense as long as they can keep Joe Burrow upright. I am terrified of them, as always. I'm not happily firing all of them up in a DFS lineup. That's for damn sure.
That's for damn sure.
And plus, we've seen multiple situations where bad quarterback play on the other side of the ball puts a team in a better situation. If Sam Darnold turns this ball over 3 times on the wrong side of the 50, those are easy points for Joe Burrow in that offense. So I don't think it happens.
It's a really narrow target tree, right? Like you said, Irv Smith has done nothing. Like, he's invisible. It's all Higgins and Chase and Mixon. Boyd's only involved if one of those guys is hurt. And I can't imagine Mixon has a big game against the San Fran run defense. So yeah, I think this is going to be all Chase and Higgins, and I think they're both going to have big games.
Yeah, it's incredible. Joe Mixon, 3.8 yards per carry, but they're not even trying their backup running back. So I think they're even recognizing it's an offensive line problem, because the backup running backs have 10 combined carries, and then he still only has 21 targets. So he is 4th on their already thin target tree. And like you said, Tyler Boyd's only up there because T. Higgins has been missing time.
Okay, so as a flashback reminder, Killiquicks wants to know, you answered this, but this is just a little refresh. Okay. It's the Purdy or Darnold over Jimmy G or Teabag on waivers. So he says it's a super flex, and then he wants to know, should he start Brian Robinson or Deontay Johnson or Tutu Atwell over McBride over Jimmy G or Darnold in his super flex spot? Joel.
I would start Deontay over all those quarterbacks, yes.
Yeah. I like that a lot. And I would still, first of all, no, I wouldn't start any of them over the quarterback, though, right? So wait, you would start Deontay over Tyson Bagent, Joel?
Yes.
Interesting. I would not. It should be a good matchup for Deontay, but he popped up with a late injury report. I think he practiced in full, so he's probably fine. But I get nervous with injuries. I'm just that kind of guy. So I would go Bagent over Deontay, but I would certainly, if you don't want to go and make the move to get Bagent, I would start Deontay over those.
Well, okay. So didn't you guys tell him to start Deontay as his starting quarterback?
No.
I said whoever the 49ers quarterback is, but I would start Deontay over either of them.
Yeah, we didn't know that he had viable flex options to just skip a quarterback altogether this week.
Okay.
Yeah, so we didn't know it was super flex at the time. So
yeah, and that's my okay. So Joel says start the 49ers quarterback. So are you starting? If you're starting the 49ers quarterback, like Ryan said, you're starting Deontay Johnson over Tyler Bagent in your super flex spot.
Yes. I mean, even with the 49ers quarterback, there's a risk that you just get CMC'd out and he gets all the whatever touchdowns they have. And, whoever the quarterback is goes, 20 catches or 20 completions for, 200 yards and 0 touchdowns and provides a useless day. I like Deontay Johnson quite a bit this week against the Jags. I think he's got a much safer floor than any of those quarterbacks.
I agree, but Bagent has the ceiling for me, and that's just where Joel and I are going to disagree.
And he doesn't have to deal with wind because he's in LA.
There you go. Or fan noise because nobody shows up to the games. So. That's
why Sam, our good friend Sam, who is a Steelers fan, went to the game in LA with her dad last week, and her Instagram story, she walks in, she's like, "Oh, it's a home game."
Yeah, Joe Zolo has been saying that about every Rams and Chargers game this entire season, that it's a home game for the other team. So
yeah, and then Brooke Pryor, who's been a guest on WOFF, who is the ESPN reporter for the Steelers, said the same thing. She's like, it's a home game.
Yeah, the Steelers already travel well, and then you go to a stadium where the fan base doesn't.
Even though it's in their city.
Yeah.
Jordan Smith says this is the best fantasy football in the advice in the world
Jordan.
right here. I don't know what it says, that nobody says that on the weeks that Joe or Josh is here, but
there you go.
take that as you would.
Well, we appreciate that.
Do what you want with that information.
No, we're happy to help, Jordan.
Connor wants to know, would you trade Ramondre and Laporta for Ken Walker? Kincaid is his replacement tight end. Joel?
Yes. Ken Walker's killing it. I mean, he is their offense right now. So, yeah, as long as he can stay upright. Ramondre's been a massive disappointment. Ken Walker, he's got the floor, he's got the ceiling. So, yeah, I'm making that trade.
I don't know what you're reacting to. I'm still
Go
tapping
ahead.
the sheet. No, you're fine. I do want to throw out, though, I'm the guy who always has to make counter offers and all of that stuff. Will they take Dalton Kincaid? Probably not, because he already played this week. But see if they'll take Kincaid. Ramondre and Kincaid is a better trade than Ramondre and Laporta. But regardless, make this trade, plain and simple.
Yep.
What I was laughing at is Jennifer's comments. Is check out Bijan Robinson.
Do we have another one?
It's his mustard.
Bijan Mustard.
Oh, Bijan Mustard.
It's his he started a mustard line.
Oh, he actually did.
His mustard.
Good for him.
Nice.
Well, now he's just getting free promotion.
Exactly. Bijan Mustard.
Now
I thought it was going to be some headache powder or something.
I was expecting a full-on headache joke screwing fantasy managers over. So
That's funny. All right, Richard Hernandez, in a full PPR, he was offered a trade. He gets Austin Ekeler and Derek Carr for Jacobs and Jordan Love. What are your thoughts on that trade? Would you make that trade if you were Richard? Joel?
Not if I have to trust Derek Carr to be a starting quarterback for me in any way whatsoever. I mean, he's like, I'm a Packer fan and I'm biased, but Jordan Love is still putting up fantasy points.
that's
right?
what I'm saying. At one point, he was
well,
a top 5 quarterback.
but he's still productive. You still have a floor with Josh Jacobs, and it's not like Eckler's running away with that battle either. So I don't want anything to do with Derek Carr. He's god awful. So yeah, if this is a case where, if this is a case where you're not playing, if Carr or Love is your backup, then I would rather have Ekeler than Jacobs. But if you're relying on these quarterbacks, it's easily Jacobs and Love.
Yeah, and the one thing you can say about Josh Jacobs that you cannot say about Austin Ekeler right now is that he's handling all the work still. They're not getting any other running backs involved. It hasn't bared fruit the way it did last year. But Josh Jacobs right now to Austin Ekeler is the better option, and Jordan Love is the better option to Derek Carr. I'm willing to move off of the Ekeler Carr side here. I'm also, again, this is who I am as a person, I'm asking for another piece back. You're giving you're receiving Ekeler. No, do not take this trade. Plain and simple, unless, again, ask for another piece back. But the side getting Ekeler should be the side asking for a piece because of the name recognition of Austin Ekeler. I would definitely want something else back to make this trade. I'm not going to move these parts, running back, quarterback. It's just not worth it.
His starting
you cannot start Derek Carr right now.
Okay, so he has T-Law. So this is just for the running backs now. So we're talking about backup quarterbacks in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is
I would rather
like Josh Jacobs right now. I know Joel's going to say the other because you already kind of said it, but go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
I would say the point you brought up about Ekeler not getting the full workload, I think that's more injury related, right? I think they just want to ease him back. So I think at some point that's going to tip, and he is going to be the full-time feature bag, and maybe as soon as this week. So if you don't need, I would make this deal, start Austin Ekeler and cut Derek Carr and find whatever's the best thing.
My biggest concern with Ekeler, and you could very well be right about the injury thing, my biggest concern is 13 targets in 3 games is not the Austin Ekeler we thought we were buying. Josh Jacobs, 40 targets, 39 targets in 7 games. And if anyone hasn't realized this, Josh Jacobs in his 6-year NFL career has never caught a touchdown pass, had one taken away from him last week. It's coming. I think we're going to see a Josh Jacobs touchdown. But no, I'm worried about what Austin Eckler's role is. When is he going to be healthy? I'm probably still not making this trade, but I will say now, I am willing to ask for another piece. Don't even get Derek Carr back. Try to get a wide receiver or another running back. Yeah. If he wants Jacobs and Jordan Love, offer Jacobs and Jordan Love for Ekeler and something better. You don't want Derek Carr in this trade.
Let's try to see when is the Jags bye is next week. So you're going to need a replacement for T-Law. Just trying to see what, so yeah, go on the waiver wire, see what quarterback's available that you can start next week. If you have to start a quarterback next week, then you probably want the Love side and the Love and Jacobs side.
There you go.
All right. Kill It Quick says his starting wide receivers are Wilson, Allen, and London.
Oh, is this from the Superflex Deontay Johnson trade?
Yeah.
Hey, you're starting. I don't know. I think Deontay Johnson is probably a play over Drake London this week, though. So
I would still start London over the quarterbacks.
Well, there you go. So Joel doesn't care regardless. I'm starting Tyson Bagent, and I'm probably going to be very wrong. I'm bought into the hype. The man's dad's like a 26-time arm wrestling champion. He's over the top in reporters.
That was cool. That was awesome.
Yes.
But do keep in mind, this is a Khalil Mack revenge game. I mean, he could dominate this game. That could be terrifying.
Wasn't the last Khalil Mack revenge game his 6 fucking sack games?
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah, Chargers Raiders. I'm pretty sure that was when he went bananas. So.
Yep, that's true. That was,
B-A-N-A-N-A-S. Sorry.
You're fine. Spelling is fun.
Thanks, Gwen Stefani. Yeah, Fergie didn't help anybody with their spelling because there's not an E in tasty, Fergie. This is why you'll never be Gwen Stefani.
I don't even know what song that is.
I was gonna say Faith's showing our age because I have no idea what you're talking about.
You're not that much older than me.
Are we talking about Jake Ferguson? Did he make a song?
Stacey Ferguson.
Fergie,
actual... Black Eyed Peas.
Yes, I know who she is. Let's move on.
Moving on to the end.
Oh, is it the end? I so badly should have just went and hit the intro music.
Joe would have. Joe 100% would have just
to the end.
Oh, God. Like, okay, bye.
Well, I did that to you a few weeks ago where I cut you off mid-sentence.
Because you wanted to be like the end, and then you didn't.
Yeah, you said like the word the end. Yeah. I could have done it again now that I think about it, but I'm not cool enough.
All right. It has been start, sit, different day for week 8. There are no teams on buys, so you don't have that monster to worry about. You just have injuries and or terrible players to deal with. Players that are a huge disappointment to you. I'm looking at you, Mac Jones. Anyway, if we did not get to your questions, hit up Club Fantasy over on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, at Club Fantasy FFL. Ask your questions. Any number of the team or any of the fabulous people who follow us would be willing to throw in their opinion and help you out. That is the beauty of social media. People can be really helpful at times. So, like I said, follow Club Fantasy FFL. If you are new to us here on YouTube, subscribe, like, hang out, join us all the time. We're a fun bunch. I don't know what to say other than that. Follow Women of Fantasy Football at women_FF on Twitter and Instagram. Our next Unwind with WOFF with Tootsie Bob is coming up in November. It's a Friendsgiving. I know Josh is making... Oh, I have to remind me. Josh is coming up. Our resident bartender is coming up with some festive cocktail recipes, including some non-alcoholic ones, so you can have a party without the buzz or the hangover later. Whatever. Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say other than go Dogs.
There you go.
Go Badgers.
Go football. Everyone have a great Saturday.